Hello, kia ora, g'day. I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only weather forecast through until next week, recorded on Wednesday, the 12th of November. Thank you for joining me. Let's have a look at the busy lightning map this morning. Plenty of thunderstorms around Western Australia, a little bit spilling over into the northwest corner of South Australia, one or two spilling over into the Northern Territory. Probably see a bit more of that as the day progresses. Further northwards around the Katherine and the top end, showers, not necessarily with thunder. Got some wet weather moving through around there. There is a disturbance around the far north of Queensland, mostly offshore, but that's producing a few thunderstorms and showers as well, and a couple of showers also around the northern half of Queensland. But really, the skies dry out and clear out as you go into New South Wales because there's a big high over the top of you, at least for today. It's going to drift away pretty quickly out over the Tasman Sea. And with high pressure over New South Wales and low pressure south of Tassie, you're stuck in the squash zone if you're in Tasmania or around Bass Strait. Windy westerlies, not only for today, but surging up tomorrow even stronger with a polar blast coming in for Tasmania. So spring conditions continue on there. And on the southern coastline, as you're going to see, we've got a cooler airflow coming through over the days ahead pretty much as high pressure, the next high, remains stuck offshore. So let's try and make sense of all of that. There is that high I'm mentioning. It's off the coast there of Perth. The other high, smack bang over the top of New South Wales, drifting out towards the Tasman Sea. You can see the low south of Tasmania and that squash zone where it's windiest, smack bang over the top of Tassie. So westerly winds continue on today for you and tomorrow as well. So tomorrow's surge kind of moves up Tasmania during the morning. Here is 11 a.m. By then it's sort of moving, by this stage it looks as though it's more on the top half of the island with gusts on the hills, mostly in the hills and ranges, getting up to 100 k's an hour or maybe just a little bit over that. We're also seeing that around the mountains and ranges of Victoria, the ACT and New South Wales. Most of these winds, these are northwesterly, so most of the gusts will be either on the tops of those mountains or on the southern and eastern sides of them, not on the northern sides of those ranges as that all moves through. And it might also be a bit blustery on the southern coastline of Victoria, certainly through Bass Strait. So here is the setup. Thursday PM, just after lunchtime in the east, the polar boundary back over the top of Tasmania, continuing your rough spring that has not really seemed to stop just yet. We do have some calmer weather on the way for you. It's not all bad, but at this stage, a colder change coming through. But north of that, westerlies or northwesterlies, they'll be pretty warm. The tropical boundary here in Queensland being dragged southwards behind that high, which is now bringing dry weather to Lord Howe Island, and a bit of a southerly with showers over in Norfolk Island. But this map is all about low pressure really by now. As that high moves away, and the other high, just like we've seen over previous months, kind of shy, doesn't want to move in, so it stays off the coastline. Everywhere else here is pretty much low pressure. Certainly over South Australia, the Northern Territory, the top of central part and top parts, northern parts of Western Australia, and in central southwest parts of Queensland. This is all low pressure. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's stormy or wet, but it means there's instability around, and that can produce thunderstorms and showers. Thunderstorms most likely in the greens and the yellows on the map here through central parts of Australia. The blue shading, remember it's up to 24 hours worth. Some of these areas just getting cloud buildups and maybe a spit or two. You might not even get wet weather in some of the more pale shading, but you can see also a line here through central parts of Queensland that might also have thunderstorms. Now on Friday, those thunderstorms in Queensland drift further south and southeast and come over into the northern rivers and other parts of the northeast corner of New South Wales, and these could produce severe thunderstorms. So keep up to date with the Bureau of Meteorology as they'll be tracking that in a bit more detail than I am. But yeah, certainly a chance of some heavy downpours on Friday in that area. Further southwards though, as we move down into Victoria and even over the ACT, it's a bit of a windy nor'easter, dry for most of you. And over Tasmania, high pressure is nearby. It's not necessarily producing a beautiful day for you, but the winds ease back. So I think that's probably what you care about the most. And a line of showers for South Australia and into central parts of Australia and up towards the Kimberley, parts of the Pilbara, getting a few showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two in there as well, or certainly some thunderstorms for those inland outback parts of Western Australia. So messy kind of weather map here on Saturday. The areas with the highest risk of thunderstorms are, again, yellows and greens. And the pale blue shading means sometimes you get cloud buildups. You might get a thunderstorm and a heavy downpour. Even if it's pale blue, the risk is there, but it's not really locked in as much as those other areas with the yellow shading. Low pressure is in the southeast corner of Australia, so around Victoria, Bass Strait. Low pressure also here around the northeast corner of New South Wales, and a fair bit of low pressure still in the tropical half of Australia, or the top half of Australia getting that. Now the other feature, the high that's shy and doesn't want to move in, is dragging in or pulling in a southerly wind. Now that might turn more easterly or southeasterly for other parts of Western Australia, particularly the southern half here, where those winds could get a little brisk at times, especially as that low sort of gets a little more organised and the high moves a little closer. And that makes a squash zone of air pressure that you can see here with the isobars over Western Australia. It might be a little gusty around the coastline with those easterly winds. Not as humid though, because that airflow is really coming in from the south, curving around as an easterly. The humidity is north of the red line. And look at the thunderstorm outbreak here in Queensland. Quite a significant one potentially on Sunday, affecting the northeast corner of New South Wales as well. But the other real feature here is that southerly change, because that sweeps all the way up into a large part of New South Wales. That southerly change is ahead of the nor'westers further up around Queensland. That's why we're getting those thunderstorms and those downpours as we go through the weekend. And further down around Tasmania, that polar boundary very close to you again. It might briefly pass by, but by Monday it's not there, but you've got the cooler airflow. Windier, southwesterly winds blowing in from Adelaide all the way over to the Tasman Sea, which includes Tasmania as well. The other change, that southerly that was in New South Wales, now moves into Queensland and brings a refreshing change for Brisbane and Toowoomba and other areas, other populated centres in the south and the southeast. And that change moves right up into central areas as well. Now, there might be a few lingering thunderstorms as that moves through, but this is a cooler change or a more refreshing change that is moving on in. And we've got thunderstorms certainly up here around the Kimberley, around the top end and around the Katherine region, leaning to the western side. Now next week, that southerly flow continues over here in the east, so there's not really a great deal of change. A couple of coastal showers in Victoria, some showers and westerly winds for Tasmania, and showers, not many of them. This is at the very lowest end of the scale, so it may be a mostly dry day with clouds passing by, a couple of showers around for South Australia. It's dry for the most part in Perth. North of Perth though, you've got a chance of a few showers. Most of these showers are inland ones, but I want to point out this low that's formed here just north of the Kimberley. Now if we jump forward a couple of days, we go to Thursday, this shows a tropical cyclone. It is not locked in, okay? Let me underline that for you. Definitely not locked in. Why is it definitely not locked in? Well, first of all, it's more than a week away. Second of all, this map shows two different computer models. The one here with the color shading, the purple circle, the donut, that is the European modeling. The black animated one further to the east, closer to Darwin, that's the American one. The American modeling doesn't show a tropical cyclone, it shows a tropical depression, a lazy area of low pressure. But if you jump forward a couple more days into next weekend, not the weekend coming up, but the following weekend, these two models are actually quite aligned just here north of the Kimberley region as a stronger low pressure zone. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. It doesn't pose a threat yet to Australia, but this may be the first storm of the season, and if not, it may at least just be the first tropical depression of the season now that the cyclone season has officially started. But really for now, not looking like a major concern, but it's certainly one to just maybe put a pencil in the calendar, and we'll be monitoring it as we go through the next couple of days. It might disappear in the computer modeling. We'll have to wait and see, but just wanted to highlight it because it's now showing up. And you can see it as well if you're looking at some of those long-range maps online. Thank you for joining me for our Australia Only update. I'll see you again tomorrow, Thursday, with our next update.